Hello, and welcome to another episode of Prindiville with me, Alex Prindiville. And today we are joined by the lovely Joanne. Joanne, how do you do?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Lovely, and thank you for coming. In the book about my life, there would certainly have to be a chapter on addiction.
Okay.
I've definitely struggled with addiction through my life.
Okay. So when did you start struggling with addiction, do you think?
For me, it started off with I was addicted to sweets. And then after sweets, and it sounds mental, I moved on to cakes. And after moving on to cakes, when I got to sort of about 13, 14, I started smoking weed. And then after smoking weed, that phase, you then start getting into taking some ecstasy and acid. And then from acid and ecstasy, I went really into the sort of later on in life, I struggled with cocaine, and then you've got alcoholism, and then you've got food, and then you've got addicted to going to the gym. And in fact, my most dangerous addiction to date, the one that I really struggled to get rid of, was one that was given to me by doctors, which was a prescription for ADHD medication. Out of every drug that I've ever had and every problem I've ever had, it was the ADHD tablets, which was the hardest for me to get off, and it was the most damaging in my life. That I caused the most amount of damage on ADHD medication.
So you're quite happy to call yourself an addict. What makes your behaviour different being an addict to maybe just saying, oh, I use these things recreationally, like, oh, I'd like a few sweets or I'd like a couple of lines here.
Yeah.
What sort of made the big difference between the two, you think?
At the point, so I got to the point where I was using cocaine daily, regularly, to just tick over. I would have my business, and then at the end of the business day, all my staff would go out, and then I would have a couple of lines of cocaine to go through the emails, try and set myself up. I used it in order to organise and manage my life and my business. And I got into a habit where, I would do that every day. And then every day you would promise yourself, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. And then at 5 o'clock at night, you found yourself calling for another ticket. And I got into, my mum died. My business was really struggling. I was under tremendous amounts of pressure. Financially, I might have, most weeks I needed £250,000 every single week to keep the companies going and to keep the machine going. And you get yourself more and more and more into a space where you can't cope. And in the end, I ended up going and seeking a psychiatrist and said to him, look, I went to see a psychiatrist and said, look, I've got a drug problem. I've got this, I've got that. And after doing some therapy for about 3 months, in the end, he said to me, look, you've not got a cocaine. You're not addicted to cocaine. You've got ADHD. He sent me off to a guy in Harley Street. The guy in Harley Street statemented me, said, yeah, actually, this is what it is. Put me on some ADHD tablets. These ADHD tablets initially really, really worked. They were great. I could then focus. All of a sudden, it was brilliant. I could wake up and I could be in the room, because one of the issues that I've always struggled with is I live, and I should imagine everybody does, but I live in two parallel worlds all the time. External, which is here and talking to you, and my internal. The internal voices in my mind from about the age of 6 have been so strong that I can't live in the actual physical world. And I think about 6 or 7 things constantly at the same time. That's why I can't really handle people, because if you're a bit slow, I can't fucking take you, because I'm already 7 jumps ahead of every single thing that I'm doing and everybody. I would take my medication at, say, 9 o'clock in the morning. By 11 o'clock, I was fucking flying. I was aggravated. I was aggressive. I was drinking bottles and bottles of water. I started smoking weed at 10 o'clock in the morning, all through the day. I was just hard to deal with. My family couldn't deal with me. My girlfriend was having trouble. I was shouting at my kids. I was super, super aggressive. I was just a complete mess and a nightmare. And that was me trying to help myself. Look, so if we're going to talk about addictions, I've been addicted to fucking all the drugs, sex, nights out, cars, money, planes, boats. If it was shiny, I was addicted to it and I drove myself mad to have it.
So do you see yourself as someone who is clinically an addict, or do you feel like it's something that, because of consumerism and the society we live in, it was maybe forced upon you, and you sort of took the bait as, yeah, I'm going to have this, I'm going to take whatever I can get because I've got the money to do so?
Look, drink, drugs, and women and sex are all part of a young man's evolution and path, really. And I grew up in an area where it was drug fueled. Yes, there was a certain amount of going mad because we was all really rich. And to be honest with you, when you look back, I lived a life which was I lived a life of a rock star. I had a very rock star lifestyle. And to be honest with you, Joe, taking drugs and having mad sex nights is a really addictive thing. It's not surprising that this world is full of drink, sex, cocaine, and avenues to escape. Every human is looking to escape somewhere along the line. And especially now that they have turned the volume up on this world, they have sped the world up so much, you're under so much strain and stress, and every single person is at the point where they're under so much pressure.
I've spoken to people about addiction quite extensively, and it's always been described as, whether it's food or drink or drugs, that addiction is constantly in the corner doing press-ups, waiting for you to fuck up, going, yeah, you're going to fuck up soon, and we're going to eat all the pies, or we're going to do all the gear, or we're going to drink all the drink. So you're right. It's like a bully that's constantly there waiting. And it is about escapism, I find. And it is about, you're trying to fill a void. So whether that's, there's people that will eat themselves silly and have to be surgically removed from a fucking sofa.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because they cannot put the food down. And now society has made it so you don't have to leave the house. You don't have to leave the house if you want to gorge on endless amounts of fucking food or drink or drugs. We will bring it to your door. You ain't even got to fucking get up.
Joe, I can get a bit of gear delivered to this table quicker than a pizza.
There you go.
So now that's the way they want it.
So you're very open, and you're sitting here, and while you take responsibility for your addiction, are you also saying that because of how society is and all the shit that they throw down your neck and shove down your throat, you haven't really got a choice? Is that what we're saying?
You've pretty much hit the nail on the head there. The status quo wants the majority of the humans to be addicted, confused, hungry, starving, trying to pay their bills. They want to keep you all either off your tits or so starving that you can't do anything. If the government really loved you, why are they fucking making money out of alcohol?
So with your addiction, what did your addiction look like? How bad did it get? What kind of places did you end up in?
For me, nothing ended. So if I went on a bender, the bag never run out, my money never run out, the amount of people that I could order would never run out, the fun would just keep going. So what you've got is you've got an addictive personality with a stream of money that never ended. So the night would never finish, or the situation never finished. And I think I got caught up for about 10 or 15 years in just complete mad chaos every single weekend, most of the week as well. But ultimately, it would end up with me crying my eyes out, being in a really bad place, because whilst you're doing all of this addictive stuff, you don't want to be doing it. It's not you that wants all of this stuff. So when you do pop out the other end, you're just full of complete regret and you're consumed with shame, and you're consumed with, oh my God, did I do that? And did I say that? And I just can't believe I was doing that. I mean, I've just found myself in some mad fucking situations. Do you know that I should never have ever been in dirty, rough gaffs, and just finding myself at 5 o'clock in the morning in fucking things and thinking, what am I doing here? I've got to try and get out. And then you're coming out, you're out your nut, you've got to try and then get back to work. I mean, yeah, I'm going to tell you this one then. This ain't great. This is a real bad one. I remember on one night after work on a Friday, everybody left work. All my staff left work, and I used to have a few friends that come and saw me for a drink in an evening. Anyway, my 3 friends come round, and we were having a party, and all of a sudden, I heard the front door go. Now, bearing in mind, I was in one of my showrooms. I've turned round in the showroom, and my staff are walking through the door. It's now Monday morning. It's Monday morning, and I'm in here with my 3 friends, and it is chaos in the car, in the showroom. There is things everywhere. And these 2 geezers come into me and went, how, what are you doing? What are you doing? Your PAs are going to be here in 20 minutes. You can't be doing this anymore. So they had to sit me down and say, listen, we're all going to leave unless you get yourself sorted, because we're not coming back into work to find you in the middle of a fucking porno shoot. And it's Monday morning, mate. And it's like you've got the television on and you've got porn all over the place, and the fucking anybody walking past can see it. And like, look, you've got to sort yourself out. And at that point I thought, right, this has got to stop, because it was Friday, and before I knew where I was, it was Monday morning.
Wow.
And these 3 friends of mine forgot to tell me it was Monday morning.
It's their fault. It's their fault, weren't yours?
It was my fault, exactly.
You were an addict. You didn't know.
I was an addict.
Come on. You've got to have someone there looking out for you. Do you still feel like you're addicted to certain things? What's going on now?
Have I cleaned up my act? Yes, I have cleaned up my act. Thank you. I've now completely I've got myself off of everything, and it was very, very difficult to do. So I'm off of all drugs, all drink, all medication, absolutely everything. I do still have a little J at the end of the day just to wind down, and I don't really see that as an issue, 1 fag a day. But yeah, generally speaking, I've cleaned up my act. I've managed to get off of everything, and I feel so much better for it. And you know what? It's about, I do ice baths in the morning. I have long walks in the park. I drink water. Just look after yourself. You know, I'm 50 now, and I've dealt with that addictive side of life.
I think also once you start seeing, once you get the ump with the government and how the fucking things are, you kind of want to say, well, no, I ain't fucking drinking your drink. I ain't fucking eating your shit. Do you know what I mean? You start to get a bit angry at the whole situation. I see it like an ex that wants to keep coming back, that you're like, no, fuck off. I ain't having that. That's your shit. I'm not having that. I'm not having your drink. I'm not having your crap.
One of the things that I would like to see change is how we actually educate kids, because everything that we're talking about here is how adults struggle with life. Now, the government know all of this. They know that there's obesity. They know all of these issues. Why are we not teaching children how to manage these things going through lives? What you're here to do is support each other. The world is about love. It's about energy. It's about moving people forward. It's about relationships. And what we're doing now as humans is we are disconnecting.
Moving away from that.
We are moving away from being human, and we are now becoming insular and digital.
Okay, so tell us your views on government policy with regards to drugs. What would your policy be?
Well, look. We're all addicted to drugs. We're all taking drugs. So I think drugs should be legal. And if you legalise drugs, you can monitor it. You can actually manage it. If you was to say, right, we're going to legalise all drugs, but to come in, you go into the pharmacist and you look into a thing, it takes a picture of your eye, and then you can buy whatever drugs you want. But this way then, we can kind of monitor what you're taking, the amount you're taking, and then once you start getting into having 2 or 3 grams a day, we're going to be able to get you in there and say, right, okay, you need to come into this little room now. Let's have a chat about it. Because when you buy a packet of sweets and you eat 1 Frutella, it's not really the end of the world. But if the shopkeeper sees you coming in buying 5 packets of Frutellas, he should be able to say, oi, are you brushing your teeth? Are you being all right with that? You're on 5 packets of Frutellas a day, mate.
Frutellas are good.
Bruv, you've got a Frutella problem. Now, I want to legalise all drugs, because I tell you what, I'll become the biggest drug dealer in the country. I'll go directly to South America, buy the Charlie off of them, bring it back, put it into the pharmacy, and I'll sell it to you. And then all of these motherfuckers are going to be fucked, because all of the drug dealers at the minute, what are they going to do? They're going to have to actually go and get a job. It's an industry that needs tidying up. fuck, don't even need to tax it. What you can do is you can then start dealing with all the homelessness, all the problems, and all the society problems. You can start turning it around. And actually, since I've been on my journey of addiction, I kind of now look at most humans, and I see the whole planet is addicted. You know, I mean, I've got some deep addictions which were quite dangerous, and it took me down some really dark holes and bad paths. But you know, I see people addicted now from the ages of 3 to 99. You've only got to get on the tube and look at every single person addicted to a mobile phone. And we have now got addiction on steroids in this, not this country, not this town, this world.
It's an epidemic.
It's an epidemic, yeah. So Joanne, we've heard all about my addictive personality. Have you ever been addicted to anything? I can't believe that to be true, but have you ever been addicted?
Yes, I have. Yes, I am. I think that I am very addicted to... food is a big one.
Right.
I did struggle with drink for a while.
Oh.
And I'm very addicted to the feeling of no responsibility and that feeling of escapism. So anything that can give me that feeling, it's very hard for me to say no to.
So in terms of an all-eating disorder, would that be bulimia?
Yes.
How does bulimia
so I struggled with an eating disorder.
How long for?
So probably since the age of like 16, 17 up until lockdown was when I got a hold of it. My addiction looked like shoving food down my throat, throwing it up, and then drinking vodka in order to fall asleep and not eat anymore. And this was on and off for many years.
Wow.
Many years. Got very, very bad.
Could you find help at that period of time? How would you?
So family members knew, but it was, I come from a family where it's sort of like, are you all right? And I'd say, yeah, I'm fine. Oh, okay, then good.
We don't want to go there.
No,
it's all too painful.
I think it's very difficult. And that's what I'm saying. We are looking to escape situations and escape our minds, because usually home base, or where you are with your family, whatever kind of relationship.
Family or friends.
Yes, exactly. If you haven't got someone in your life that you can go to and say, fuck me, I'm struggling today. And they'll put their pen down, their phone. All right, let's go for a fucking walk. Let's go and just have a chat. Let's get it out. And as simple as it sounds, just by having that conversation or having that person, because as humans we go, I don't want to trouble anyone with what I'm thinking, because really I just want to crack on and get on with what I'm doing with my addiction here.
Everybody watched me go through madness, but because I was paying the bills and I was Charlie Big Potatoes, everything, it was all, he's just bought another car, he's just bought another plane, it don't matter. He's all right, yeah. He's all right, you know? So that was bulimia. And then how did that then go into alcoholism?
Because in order to stop me eating, I would drink. So instead of eating something, I'd think, right, let's back some vodka, because then I'll just pass out. But then I was getting into a state where I'd drink vodka, pass out, and then I'd wake up pissed and go and fucking raid the kitchen. Or
of course, you'd wake up in the munchies.
I'd wake up next to fucking toasted sandwiches that I'd eaten, half eaten, and I'm like, fuck.
So hold on, you've just gone round, you've done a full circle.
Yes, but that is addiction. It's chasing the tail of bullshit.
Right, how many, would you say more women are struggling with that type of life? Because most of the men I know are struggling with cocaine or these sort of things. Okay. What do women struggle with?
So women struggle with how visually they look. I've worked in many clinics and places like Harrods, where it's very focused on how you look. And then you get a boyfriend who's very focused on how you look. So there's no kind of escape from just feeling normal and putting pajamas on and doing whatever you like and not being dug out for it. But Yeah, so when we were talking about people going to the gym and getting addicted to the gym, that is also a form of, people might not like to hear it, but that is a form of controlling your food as well. So that is a control, like a different
Listen,
form
gym
of bulimia.
gym people are the most addicted.
Oh, come on,
fucked up
you watch people in Lycra running around, they're running away on a fucking Sunday morning so they don't have to go home and listen to the wife or the husband or the kids. It's another form of escapism.
That brings us to the end of this episode, which is covered addiction. And I think that was quite an interesting one. We've both shared a little bit there, maybe a little bit of oversharing, Joanne. So thank you.
It's all in the edit.
It's all in the edit.
Thank you very much. No, that was very interesting. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
really enjoyed it.
I know, lovely. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.